Hello YouTube, this is the Bucket coming at you today with the Rohm 38S double action revolver. I picked this gun up because I have become quite the fanboy of the Rohm firearms as I learn more and more about them. I had an opportunity 2 months ago to pick up a Model 14 Rohm, which is a 22 long rifle snubby revolver, colloquially called a Saturday Night Special. And I missed out on that opportunity, and in my hunting them down, I found out that Rohm had made a lot of different firearms. And I picked this particular firearm up, and I'm excited to bring it to you because this is a gun that really, there isn't a lot of information out there. And I was blessed to look on a website by a young man, or by a man named Frank Brady, who's got a website, I'll link that in the description below, that gave me some information about these, and I want to bring those to you today. So this is a double action revolver, clearly modeled or inspired by the Model 10, which was again a very popular revolver at the time, adopted by lots of police, prisons, lots of security. Ended up picking one of these up. Actually, this was my grandfather's when he worked for an armored car company, so that's why I have that particular one. And Rohm was producing a lot of those Saturday Night Specials after World War II. That was a market that they could produce inexpensive pistols that a lot of people purchased to scare away maybe a mugger, or maybe to be a mugger yourself or a stick-up person. And so they kind of had a bad name. And after the Gun Control Act of 1968, most of those companies were run out of business, but Rohm and the RG company was successful enough that they actually started producing some of these here in the United States to get around that. And in the 60s and 70s, they started producing some other guns that were probably a little bit higher quality, like this 38S. And because they had the name of being this cheap firearm, a lot of people, and my guess is that a lot of the gun community just assumes that all RGs are just complete garbage. And from the looks of this, and from some of that information that I saw on Frank Brady's website, most people that actually own one of these seem to think they're pretty good. They do what they're supposed to do. They're a good home defense gun. They're good to take out to the range. You know, is this double action going to be as good as the Smith Model 10? No, not nearly as good. Is the single action going to be as good? No, not nearly as good. The Smith is steel throughout, and on this RG, the receiver is a zinc alloy. It's barrel steel, hammer steel, trigger steel, but they do use some expensive parts still on their slightly upgraded model. The grips are clearly plastic. I wouldn't say poorly fit, but not really snug. They do have some good stuff. There is a transfer bar in here that will protect you, so it's fairly drop safe. Little things like they just milled out the whole inner of the receiver, so the rims on the 38 Specials are not protected like you would have on this Model 10, where they're milled out. It's a functional gun from the looks of it. Obviously the finish is not going to be nearly as good as on a Smith, and I do see some surface rust that has come in the past 50 years on this particular gun. That being said, everything seems to be locking up very tight. It seems like there's no reason it wouldn't shoot reliably, and I'm excited to get it to the range and tell you how that looks. I'm also going to give this a good once over and see if I can get some of that surface rust a little bit off and see if we can get her to look a little bit cleaner. As far as specs of this particular firearm, when you look at the length, I measured it at 9 1/8 inches. The height is going to be 5 7/16 inches. The width off of my caliber was 1.5 inches. The barrel length was 3 3/4 inches on my model, although I've seen pictures of a different barrel lengths. The weight is a little heavy. It's 2 pounds and 20 ounces, a little bit over that, which is about 2 to 4 ounces more than my Smith here. Again, it is a 6-round cylinder, but if you have Model 10 speed loaders, they will work for this. I did drop those in there, and it did seem to load up pretty well. I'm excited to get this out there, so there's some stuff for some of you that has a Model 38S just to see and have the story of your gun told. I also really appreciate any comments that you have, and as always, you stay classy, YouTube.
I learned a lesson. Never half-ass two things. Whole-ass one thing.